Right. All right. So that is end about, or that is all about the dictionary. At least we have knowledge of dictionaries. When next we hear dictionary in Python, you know what we are talking about. So the next thing I'm going to teach us is the next data type, which is tuple. So let's quickly look at tuple as the next Python data type. Yes?
Okay, please, before we move on,
Okay.
can you show us how we've done update, how to update? Probably maybe want to add something, that
Is
was
that
not there before. So can you tell us can you show us how to remove anything we want to remove in the dictionary?
you want to remove item from dictionary?
If you want to remove anything, yes, yes.
Okay, so okay, so just give me a second, I'm coming. All right, so let's quickly look at that. How to remove item from dictionary. Now, to remove item from dictionary, all we need to do is to use one of the dictionary method, which is using pop. So that is the function you are going to use using pop. So there are actually different methods as in functions for manipulating dictionary elements, just like we have learned some updates. So I don't want to go into taking each of them because of the purpose in which we are learning this. So I will just, since you asked, that is why I just have to bring in this very one. Now, if we want to remove which of the dictionary, okay, let's say we want to remove from Prosper Dictionary, we want to remove, let's say we want to remove age, or let's say we want to remove first name. So what you are going to do, the syntax is that you select that particular dictionary name, which is Prosper. And then after that, you concatenate the function pop. Then you can now define the item you want to remove. If it's a string, you put it in quotes. If it is not a string, you write it just the way it is. Now, it is the key that we want to remove here. It is the key that we want to remove. So if I write, try to look at the logic I'm going to use here now. So if I define the key, which is the first name, I think is here underscore, because you must specify the key of the value you are removing. First underscore name. So let me run it and see what we get. Okay, so now let's reprint Prosper and see if we have the item excluded. Prosper. Just with issue work. I need to comment some of this up so that I'll be having too many. Comment this off. We can just focus on the output. Once we are done with all this. All right, so let's run again. So if you check here now, you see that what Prosper, the name, the first name, everything about the first name has gone. I hope that is clear.
Yes.
All right. Okay, so let's quickly go back to the topic, which tuple. Tuple in Python or tuple data type. Tuple data type. So let's start with the definition of tuple. So tuple is another multi-structured data type in Python, just like list, dictionary, which we have discussed. I hope you are writing. Tuple is another multi-structure data type in Python. In other words, it is also used to hold multiple values. But what is the difference between tuple and the others? Note, the difference between tuple and lists is the parenthesis bracket used, is the parenthesis bracket. Now, I told us initially that we should take note of the bracket we are using for each of these. Now, when we were talking about lists, we use this square bracket. Let me just recap. And then when we talk about the dictionary, we are using we use the calling bracket. Now we are talking about tuple. We are using this bracket. So that is just for you to know the differences between the brackets. So now, so we should take note of this bracket. You can write it in your notes. This one is for list, while this is for dictionary. This is for tuple. So the same way you declare lists, but the difference is the type of bracket you are using. So to create a tuple of multiple value, I will just say, let's say T1 to represent my tuple, and then I will just open this bracket. Then if it is a tuple of integer, just declare the number, use comma to separate them. Simple as that. That is why I told us before that most time I just teach dictionary and list, and they ask you to go and research on the remaining two because the differences are not much. It's just the brackets. And now another thing again is that tuple is immutable. In other words, once a tuple is created, it will not let you add elements. You cannot add. You can see the way we were able to add new elements to dictionary, to lists, but you can't do that comfortably with tuple outside the differences in the bracket. That is another difference you need to note down, okay, which I've already explained that in programming at times, developer can decide to restrict the user of that app from modifying the information in it. Now, the next thing we are going to look at now is that to print the tuple, you simply write print and then call the name of the tuple, and then you run your code. We should be able to get the outputs. All right. So now, so in summary there, when do I use tuple? You use tuple when you want values to be fixed. Use tuple when you want values to be fixed. Now, once a tuple is created, like I said before, it will not allow you to add elements. It is read-only lists. That is why sometimes we can say it is what? Read-only what? List. So now let us create a tuple of string. Tuple of string, because that is tuple of number or integer. Tuple of string. A tuple that stores text as value. So I can say T2 equals to, open the bracket, then for string, as usual, you have to envelope them in the string quotation. So let's say as tuple of let's say computer, let's say printer, comma, then tuple of mouse. Let's say tuple of keyboard. Right? So now this is tuple of string. Now, if you want to know whether you can actually what manipulate, because now close the door now. All right. Sorry about that, I beg. All right. So like I was saying, so this is tuple of 3 different string values. Now, we want to verify whether tuples are actually immutable or whether they are mutable. Let's try to append, just like we did in the case of lists, and see whether you'll be able to add to it, just to prove that tuple are immutable what data type. So if we try doing something like, let's say I want to add to tuple2 dot append, just like we did it in a list. And let's assume that I want to add additional value, and the value is called, let's say, book. If I run it, you are going to get an error that says that what tuple object has no attribute append. That is, you cannot add. The kind of manipulation you can do is to maybe to call the first number, the first value in it, which is with the index, but not modifying the content. So that is just to tell us that tuple are what? Immutable. So, but you can list or slice the values within a tuple. So for example, if I want to list out printer from that tuple, I can use the same logic, which is I can say T2, or in fact, let's put it in print so that will print the outcome. And then I will say T2, from T2, I'll select the first value in that, and then if you run it, you see that what you are able to print out the item, the first element in that tuple. Now, why this is possible? Because you are not actually changing. You only what display. So any function that allows us or you to change the element of that data structure, if it is tuple, it's not going to work. So if you want to try it, remember there was a logic I gave towards the other time, how you can list out all the functions that can be used to manipulate any of this. So you can just say print, I hope you still remember, then print dir, and then supply the name of the data type you want to know the functions that allow to be used on it. So I can just say, okay, tuple. I want to know the functions that I can use to manipulate tuple element. So you can see the list out of them. If you go through them carefully, you will see that none of them will allow you to modify. You will not see append there. You will not see append. All those functions that we use in manipulating our list, like inserts, you are not going to find them here. So that is, you can only view the index, you can only display the value. All right, so I hope you are following. Please let me get a response.
Yes.
All right, so we can count. That is, you can find out how many items are in a tuple, because that has nothing to do with changing, just counting. So I can say print count, print count, and then supply the name of the tuple you want to count its values. If I run it, I should get an output. What did I get here? Let me remove this directory. Let me comment this out. There's an error. What is this saying? Our syntax could be. Okay, so this is because of the value. Okay, let me put this error. Okay, so let's use learn. I think learn will do it for us. We've treated learn before. Hope the error is cleared. Okay, so learn can do that for us. All right, so that is for tuple. So like I said, it's very simple to understand once you understand the concept of lists. Now let's quickly talk about Python sets. I think I should leave that one for us to go and research on, so that we can go for 10 minutes commercial break. Where we return, we go properly into the introduction of Python application in data analysis. So go and research on sets. It's very simple. The only difference is still in brackets. It's still in brackets. So you tell me in the next class the type of bracket you use. Do you have any question? We'll go for 10 minutes break, and when we return, we will start relating Python to data analysis proper. So I believe that with what we have touched so far, as somebody who is learning Python for analyzing data, you have basic knowledge. You have basic knowledge. You now know what is called variable. You know how to manipulate the values in a variable. And then you know the multi-structure data type. You know how to work with dictionary. You know how to work with lists. You know how to work with tuple. At least if anybody mention all this, you should be able to respond. Any question before we go for the 10 minutes break?
No question.
All right, so at this point, we are switching from our PyCharm IDE to the prescribed IDE when it comes to application of Python for data analysis. So you have to close your PyCharm, and then we look at the proper introduction. So though part of what we've discussed so many things about some of the softwares that we need to put in place before you can analyze data with Python. So I will just recap because I know in one of the lecture, I must have spoken about them, but just to re-echo them properly. Now, now that we understand Python as a programming language, which is used in the field of data analytics or data science for manipulating data for insights that could influence decision making. Python is one of the data analytics tools. It's one of the data analytics tool. In other words, is one of the language that is used in analyzing data. So what and what do I need to install as regard to software on my laptop before I can use Python to analyze data? Number one, you need, so like I was saying, number one, we need a server. We need a server. Now, what is the role of a server? Why do you need a server? Now, you need a server because you are going to be outputting your Python results. Good. We are going to be outputting them via a browser. A browser could be your Google Chrome, could be your Mozilla Firefox. So in this case, that browser is going to be the application that will help us to see the results of our code written in Python. So of course, before you can use your browser, you must subscribe to the internet, you must have data. But in this case now, we do not need internet, but we are still going to be able to run our Python code via the browser as if we are live on the browser, the internet. So that's why you need a server. And the server application we are installing or that we need is called Anaconda. So the reason why we install Anaconda, it is because Anaconda offers us that service that allows us to display our analysis outcome via the browser. Now, we also need a platform. We also need a platform where we can bring all our data aspects or components in one place, such as the data itself that you want to analyze. You need a platform to hold it for you. The libraries, that is the collection of functions written in Python that we are going to be consulting or applying on our data for us to be able to derive those insights from that data. So we need functions to work with. These are pre-written functions stored in different libraries. So we need a platform that can help us to assemble all our analysis library and the data frame or data set you want to analyze. So that is the reason why we need Anaconda, and then we need Jupyter Notebook. So the Jupyter Notebook serves as the platform, serves as the framework that allows us to bring all our data components or aspects in one place. I hope that explanation is clear before I proceed. And meanwhile, you should be starting your Anaconda now, just like the way I am starting mine. Any question?
I didn't get you.
Start your Anaconda if you have not.
Hello, sir.
Start your Anaconda if you have not. So,
Sir, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Maybe you cannot hear me. Mr. Joseph, can you hear me?
Now, I can hear you now. Now that my Anaconda is not running now, what will I do?
Why is it not running? What happened?
That error that time now.
Go and uninstall
Wait.
Visual Studio Code for now and open it. That is what I told you now. You have already set it as default. That is why when you are opening Visual Anaconda, it's redirecting you to Visual Studio Code. Just go to cPanel, then locate Visual Studio Code and delete it. Hope you know how to do that. Can you do that?
I'm coming.
Mr. Joseph, have you loaded your Anaconda? Please, let's make sure that.
Yeah,
I
I'm
still
on
not
the
get what I said. Okay, continue.
I'm on my Jupyter now. Jupyter
Okay,
Notebook, yeah.
okay. Mrs. Onyikosi, have you been able to locate control panel where you can delete the Visual Studio Code in order to allow you to run your
No, it's
Anaconda?
not directing me to. It's not directing me to Visual Studio Code. You know that time you said I should run all cells. Those
Okay,
things did not come up till now.
Uh,
That's what I'm saying.
okay, no problem, no problem. You create another notebook. There's conflict somewhere. But what we want to do is totally different. You are not going to continue with that particular notebook, that particular one that is here to run. We are not going to continue with it. So just follow the class. We are starting another one, and it will allow you to do that.
Okay, sir.
So now,
Okay, sir.
I just want us to understand why we need the two software, the Anaconda coming in as a service provider and the Jupyter Notebook coming in as a platform, as a framework that is going to help us to hold all our data components, all our data aspects in one place. So I believe that is noted. So the next thing we need to learn is how to set up analysis dashboard. How to set up analysis dashboard. So what do we mean by analysis dashboard? I believe I must have mentioned it. But since we are in properly for data analysis, it's high time we break it down. Now, every data analyst must have an interface where he or she is performing his or her analysis and also taking note of observations, which will end up being the insights that you will have gotten from the data set that will now later be presented to the stakeholder or the company that gives you the data to analyze so that they can be guided in terms of making informed decisions. So you must have a dashboard. Now, our dashboard is going to be set up on that platform that I mentioned, which is Jupyter Notebook. So how do we go about it? I want you to be writing your step. So the first thing is for you to create a folder. That is the first thing. To create a folder, right? Now, the reason for the folder is we want all the resources to be packaged in one place. So peradventure, maybe you start handling that project in a particular system. Due to one thing or the other, you have to take that job to another computer to continue your analysis. So if you do not assemble them in a folder, it becomes difficult for you to lift those files out of that old system to the new system. So that is why we need to create a new folder. So please make sure that you follow this same step. Now, I will right click. I want my folder to be on my desktop. I want it to be on my desktop, and I want to label it 6 to 9 a.m. underscore data underscore analysis. Data analysis underscore master class underscore class. All right. Now, once you have created your project folder, the next thing is for you to add the data sets you want to analyze inside that folder. So let me look for a data set from, let me see, I should be able to get one here. Oh, time. Should be able to get one here. But before that, I would like to open it and confirm that the data is complete so that I will get to Python now. And then when I start getting error, I will think that my codes are not correct. So let me just open it. Always do this. Try as much as possible to open it to make sure that it's working perfectly. All right, so this is already analyzed data. So, but let me just see if I can take the data, Control C, Control N, a new book, and then paste. Control V to paste. So I just want to quickly make one, and then make sure that we are going to do that in Python. We are going to clean up the data in Python. But one thing you should make sure you drop this artificial narrow sign that you created. So how I'm going to do that, you clear the format, and then make sure that you save it. So I'm going to save it in that particular folder that I just created on desktop. Then locate that folder, which is 9 a.m. to this, sorry, 6. And then when you are saving your data, I want you to have both versions because I'm going to show us how you can load both versions. I want you to load both CSV